Have you ever seen something that you just couldn't explain? I mean, really couldn't. Well, what if you caught it on camera? Today, we are digging into the incredible personal account of a paramotor pilot who did exactly that. He captured high-resolution footage of something truly bizarre over one of the most ancient and remote places on Earth. Let's get right into it. Those were the first words the pilot said over his radio. You can just hear the mix of shock and confusion, right? A totally routine flight was, in an instant, about to become anything but. This single moment, a fleeting glimpse on video, kicked off an investigation that really pushes the boundaries of what we think we know about physics. So, how in the world does a simple hobby flight turn into documenting an impossible object? It all starts with one man, his paramotor, and the huge, ancient landscape of Sind. Now, the guy who captured all this, he's not some professional UFO hunter or anything like that. He's a hobbyist. He only took up paragliding and paramotoring back in 2023. He flies just for the sheer joy of it, and he always records his flights. But this one particular flight, this one was going to change everything. Okay, so let's set the scene, because what's so wild is just how normal everything was. The date was November 1st, 2025. The time, 4:20 in the afternoon, so a couple of hours before sunset. The location, Ranakot Fort, which is literally the world's largest fort. And here's the crucial part. He had 2 cameras rolling, a GoPro in his helmet, and an Insta360 on his harness. So every moment, every word he said was being recorded. All right, this brings us to the moment it all happened. The pilot made a decision to fly over a place he usually stays away from, the deep, massive valley inside the fort's ancient walls. He mentions that the winds were super calm, only about 8 to 10 kilometers per hour. That made it a rare, just perfect opportunity to explore the valley. He climbed up to 1,400 feet, to stay well above any turbulence coming off the mountains. It was just a few minutes after he flew into this huge, empty space that it happened. His very first thought, and you can actually hear this on the radio call, was just a fear of collision. He's thinking, oh no, is that someone's drone? But his friends on the ground, they saw nothing. So to kind of de-escalate things and not cause a panic, they all just quickly rationalized it. It must have been a bird. Yeah, just a bird. And so he let it go and kept on flying. And the story really could have just ended right there. A weird moment written off as a bird. But the pilot had the tapes. And when he got home and started reviewing that footage, that's when the real investigation began. His approach was really methodical. At first, he's scrubbing through the footage and can't find a thing. But then, after zooming way in and slowing the video down by 90%, this little white object just appears, moving at this unbelievable speed. So he breaks it all down frame by painstaking frame to figure out what he was really looking at. Okay, so to really get what he found, we have to do some quick camera math. His GoPro was shooting at 30 frames per second. That means each individual picture, each frame that makes up that video represents just 33 thousandths of a second. It's an incredibly tiny slice of time. And this is where it gets absolutely mind-bending. Using Google Earth to map his own position against the objects, he figured out that between just 2 back-to-back frames, in that tiny 0.033 second window, the object traveled 120 meters. That is longer than a football field, in literally the blink of an eye. So, what does that math work out to? An estimated speed of 3,600 meters per second. That's 3.6 kilometers every single second. Now, to put that number into perspective, because it's kind of hard to wrap your head around, a commercial jet cruises at about 277 meters per second. The fastest air-breathing aircraft ever built by humans, the legendary SR-71 Blackbird, it topped out around 1,200 meters per second. This thing was clocked at 3 times that speed inside our atmosphere and at a low altitude. A speed like that doesn't just break records, it starts to break the known laws of physics. And the pilot, he knew it, which is what made him dig in even deeper. He said it himself, surely I must be making some mistake. So he tried a completely different method. He tracked the object frame by frame all the way back to where it appeared near a mountain, 3 kilometers away. It covered that distance in just 16 frames, a little over half a second. The new calculation, 3,750 meters per second, almost exactly the same as his first result. This was not a mistake. And then he found something else. Just seconds after that first sighting, while he was on the radio, something passed even closer to him. This time, he didn't see it with his own eyes. It was just way too fast. But the camera? The camera caught it, a white streak that appeared in only 3 frames. So this all leaves us with one central, massive question. How can an object possibly travel at more than 10 times the speed of sound through the dense, thick air of a low altitude? According to our understanding of the world, it just shouldn't be possible. Let's just break down the impossibilities here. First off, an object moving that fast should create a catastrophic sonic boom. I mean, it would be deafening. But there was total silence. Second, its close pass should have created a massive vortex of air, which would have thrown his glider into a spin. But his flight stayed perfectly stable. And finally, that second pass was invisible to him simply because the human eye can't process images that fast. It's not designed to. Now, if this were just one isolated story from one guy, you might be tempted to just dismiss it. But as the pilot started to research what he saw, he realized he wasn't alone, not even close. You see, this type of sighting fits a very specific pattern. It goes all the way back to at least 2004 with the famous U.S. Navy Tic Tac UFO encounter. Then in 2016, a drone in Utah filmed a similar object moving at about Mach 10. And just recently, the Pentagon's own UAP Investigation Office reported over 750 sightings in just over a year. The Rannicote incident fits right into this established pattern. And out of those hundreds of official reports, the Pentagon's Aero Office, their own office, says there are 21 sightings that simply cannot be explained. They describe these objects as having speeds and movements that act as if they weren't objects from our world. Their words, not mine. This brings us right back to the pilot's final conclusion. And he's not asking you to just believe him. He's presenting the data. He saw it, yeah, but more importantly, his camera recorded it. The evidence exists completely outside of his own perception. As he puts it, it's at least not my delusion. So we're left with the footage, we're left with the math, and we're left with a pattern of very similar events documented by military pilots and government agencies all over the world. The evidence strongly suggests something is in our skies that can move in ways we just don't understand. The only real question left is, what is it?